Welcome to 13 minutes of gig news in 13 minutes or less. Let's get into it, you guys. Um, Phoenix woman sues Doordash alleging driver masturbated on her food. We talked about this on the roundtable. I made a clip that is on the. I'll put it in the show notes if you guys want to go and watch it. I know it sounds like a joke, but at the same time, the reason I'm mentioning this on 13 minutes is because a few times we've talked about surveys, and we've had guests on who have said, "No way that really happens. No way that somebody peed on somebody's house or this or that." These things aren't just being made up. I mean, look, there's probably some TikTokers out there who want some attention and do things like this. This isn't a TikTok thing. This is a real deal. It happened in January of 2022, but it's just now getting to court. So the woman is suing DoorDash. I will let you go see the video if you haven't already. I'll also post the article link will be in there too if you want to go read it. Um, but the video that I cut and made a short of explains it pretty well. She basically, and here it is, just real quick. Um, Guy picks up food from a Mexican place in Phoenix. So we're talking about Maricopa County, same place the Uber autonomous driver was um, put on trial for being responsible for the autonomous failure. So the DoorDasher picks up the food, proceeds to park in the parking lot of the restaurant he picked up the food in, masturbates and ejaculates onto the food. The one of the employees and the camera at the restaurant caught this. The employee came outside, knocked on his window, and literally said, "Hey, give me that back. We've got to dispose of this. Give me that back." And the driver said, "No, I'm good," and he drove off. The worker then proceeded to go back inside and called DoorDash and said, "Hey, this delivery that's going out, this had happened. We have video footage of it." And DoorDash did end up calling the person who was having the food delivered. However, it was 40 minutes after the call came in from the restaurant. And by that time, the food had been delivered and the customer had ate it. So the lawsuit is that all this happened, that DoorDash knew about it, and that for 40 minutes, they didn't contact the driver and cancel it. They didn't contact the customer and say, "Hey, don't eat the food." And they knew this because when they did get her on the phone, that is what they said. "Hey, this is coming. This happened. We're really sorry," or however they worded it, but don't eat the food. And her response was, "Food got here half hour ago. I already ate it all." So this is no joke, you guys. These are the kind of things when we talk about these surveys, believe them. Believe that 9% of dashers have peed on a house. Um, I mean, this stuff happens. I mean, maybe you live in markets where, it's smaller or whatnot, but I can tell you as living in a big city, um, this stuff happens. It does. Um, Grubhub is, even with being on Amazon, they are sharing some numbers, and their orders have declined by 10 million this calendar year alone. So even with the Amazon uh, onboarding, where you got 6 months for free, then it was 7.95 or whatever it is to keep it, and for unlimited, no services, fees, and all this. Even with the help of Amazon, they have still proceeded to crash and burn. So are they worth anything anymore? I don't know. I don't know that their database even would be worthwhile to a DoorDash or an Uber Eats. So what'll probably happen, my thought on this is that we'll start seeing DoorDash be in the cities where it does well. We know people who do well delivering DoorDash in certain markets. They do very well. We know a few people who only deliver DoorDash or I'm sorry, Grubhub, and in their market, it's good. My thought is they're not going to be fighting for the space much anymore, and they're more going to go to, we do okay in these markets. Let's really push these markets. So, also in the food delivery space this week, Chick-fil-A is agreeing to a $4.4 million class action settlement on delivery fees, which is crazy, right? Because most restaurants' biggest complaint is the fact that on the Uber Eats, DoorDash platform, they charge different amounts for the items, for the food than you, and then the delivery fees and all that, and the service fees and processing fees, but they charge more on the food items as well. So there's so much upmarking going on that it's like that's why why would the restaurants get angry. And now we know Chick-fil-A has their own fleet of vehicles. They've been very proud of this, but even to their true customers who use their fleet for delivery, they're charging too much on delivery fees. They're charging too much on processing, and they're charging more on their items than if you go in and get them. So they're settling this 4.4 million dollar class action suit. Is that kind of a drop in the bucket to them? Probably. But the fact they're settling this is, we all know what that means. They're admitting to doing it. So, what'll happen? Will it be corrected? Hopefully. Hopefully. Update on the Minnesota Governor's Task Force. So this is really weird. I think I told you guys a few weeks back that when the governor of Minnesota did his first veto ever on weighing in on this. And he's never vetoed, he's never gone against the party that pushes these, and they got it all the way through and he vetoed. The person who was pushing for the Uber Lyft driver association, um, who really this was his baby, this was his that he carried it, was assigned to be the head of the task force to look into this, and we thought that the results would come in early next year. They're already gonna have the results back next year, but we talked about him saying, "I don't want that position." So it's like he helped all these people get up here and fight. Once the governor vetoed, he's like, "I don't wanna do that work." So the guy who was in charge under him is now in charge of the task force group, and the strangest part is the guy under him is doing a great job. However, they have learned some details. The guy who was in charge, who was pushing this, had an offer on the table that would have got drivers more money right now while they were doing this task force investigation. He didn't even present it to the drivers that he was representing. I will put that article in here as well because he didn't even let them know, hey, this is on the table and it wasn't like a long-term thing. This will make you more money while we're figuring this out. He didn't even tell them about it. And then he leaves as he's appointed to the task force. So it's like, you know, watch out for these people with legislation, guys. Um, autonomous. Two stories here, you guys. So, autonomous vehicle company plans Dallas launch amid probe by federal regulations. So, the federal regulators are looking into autonomous all over. They are now starting. They're understanding we're not there. Same thing I always say. We talk about it all the time on the roundtable. The regulators are saying we're not there. I know some level 4 testing is being done in China by a new company that is approved there. But over here, we only allow it in 3 cities. And San Francisco is soon to be kicking them out, even against the will of Governor Newsom. The mayor, the police chief, the fire chief, and almost every other person that has weight in San Francisco all wants these out of here. They don't want to change like how many hours they can work or whatever. They just want them gone. Good for them. They don't work. Austin, Texas, and LA will be the only other 2 cities, and soon will be Charlotte, North Carolina, because they will be taking on the contract that San Francisco is going to be dumping against Governor Newsom's will again. Make sure you guys note that against Governor Newsom's will, he forced San Francisco to take this. They didn't want it. And now they're really fighting back. They tried it and now they're like, no, this is ridiculous. So we won't even get into the stories again, guys. All of these stories and hundreds and thousands more can be found at uberlyftdrivers.com. Ridesharerodeo.com should take you to uberlyftdrivers.com, which connects to all the social medias that I do, plus has a post every day with re-aggregated stories. And you can find all these, but I'll put them in the show notes, the ones we're talking about. And the last um, story that I wanted to tell you about is that there was video leaked on Reddit, and I have it. I actually downloaded a copy before it gets pulled. So I'll be sharing that in a video one way or another. But I'll put the article in there. I'm afraid this article is gonna get pulled too. And if you click the article, you can see the video right now. My guess is it won't be there very long. But it's about autonomous industrial kitchens. And what it is there's not a single person in this kitchen. And in a 2.5 minute video, you can watch how this, I mean, it's very it looks very futuristic. It would be very expensive, clearly, but it says it would take away from like chefs being burnt out. I've worked in enough restaurants and bars. I don't want autonomous food. I like the fact I go to some restaurants because of the chef, and the chef doesn't even have to be there because they train their sous chefs and other cooks that work for them to do how they want. So I like restaurants based on the fact of what the chef has brought to it. If I'm going to take the time to actually go out and enjoy something, I mean, I want all you guys to click this link. So it'll be the last article that is on there. So there will be one, two, three, four, five, 6 articles linked. Um, it'll be the 6th one. Check it out. And leave in the comments what you think about this autonomous kitchen thing. Also, the federal regulations saying that this shouldn't be happening in Dallas. Dallas Cruise Autonomous is up and running right now with a driver in the front seat because Texas has not allowed driverless, and this federal probe wouldn't. However, it also notes that in Austin, Texas, they are operating driverlessly, and it's part of the federal probe because they're not supposed to be. So, last thing I wanted to say, this time of year usually starts picking up. Hopefully, it will soon, you guys. But take a mental health check-in with yourself. You know, uh, Call a friend, reach out to another gig worker more than just in a chat, and try and be kind to each other. Look, there's some people out here that just love not being nice and love having bad channels. Um, but there's a lot of people out here who care too. So, you know, watch what you're watching, and take a break, take some deep breaths, take some time for yourself, and check in with people. And that's 13 minutes of gig news in just under 13 minutes. See you guys. Peace.